Today I'm going to speak briefly on the future of where IT is going and what a challenge that presents. If I don't put my glasses on, it'll be a short one. And what a challenge that does present. One has to measure time frame for IT in dog years, and that is you need to multiply whatever is happening today by about 7 times because things are moving so very quickly. So if you struggle with IT, relax, a lot of people are. To get an understanding though of the importance of computers in our environment, is there anybody here who doesn't use a computer in their business? Exactly. They are pervasive, they are involved in everybody's business. It's what I expected. Computers are fundamental, and thank goodness for that, because some of the more mature people here would remember just how laborious running business was when we didn't have IT. So it's not so long ago, but to understand where we're going with IT, I think it's also important to take a bit of a step back and get a perspective on where we have come from over the last, say, 30, 40 years. I actually feel quite privileged that in our business we've lived right through that period of time. Now, IBIS World is an organisation that sort of measures this type of stuff. But IBIS World classifies the last few hundred years into 4 major periods. The age that we're really interested in is the digital age, of course, and this commenced around the middle of the 60s. This is the time when computing as we know it really started to take shape. We had mainframe computers, which were used by big business and governments, but certainly not accessible to the average user. Then it was the 70s when the digital age really kicked in and technology became the driving force behind that change. So first off the blocks, it was back in the 80s when the astute and very passionate young software developer known as Bill Gates presented MS-DOS, which powered one of the first computers, or personal computers as we know them today. The IBM PC XT, what a brick. We had the first Commodore 64 and Macintosh released their Apple. And they were really revolutionary times, and whilst mainframe computers have been around for many years, the capacity to have your own personal computer was quite groundbreaking. It was 1989 when OPC, or Office Productivity Centre as we were called back then, opened its doors. Just a brief aside, I brought with me today, I still had the hard drive from our computer back then. I just thought it might be a bit interesting. That's the hard drive. 10 megabytes, you'd be lucky to put 2 photos on it today. That is a 250 gigabyte drive out of a laptop. So it's about 25,000 times more capacity on there than the old hard drive. At about the same time, we were seeing the first mobile phone, affectionately known as the brick. So that was a pretty special time. I remember it as clear as day getting the first one. Horribly expensive, about $4,000. But hey, you could make a phone call without being connected to the web. Next we got the World Wide Web in its fairly primitive form, but nevertheless we now had the internet. Now the internet dates back to World War II, so it's actually very old, but again, the way we know the operation of the internet is probably from the mid-90s. So 1995 we're seeing websites starting to be developed on personal computers. Again, I think it's probably one of the most significant changes. And Google, whom we all love, became incorporated as a business in the late 90s, and as the stats say, it's, as of 2011, over those short few years, what is it, 1 billion unique visitors through the website. It's quite phenomenal. And just as a little bit of trivia, Google comes from the term Googol, G-O-O-G-O-L. It's a mathematical term for the number 10 to the power of 100. That's where Google came from. Windows 98 was released, and Windows 95, Windows 98. This is Microsoft's attempt at making the IBM PC, or the PC, easier to use and more like the Mac. And then, of course, we had Facebook. And Facebook has been a major milestone. Even if you don't use Facebook, you're still impacted because the greater part of society has embraced this technology, and it has changed the way we all communicate. So now we have 800 active users, and that's I think that's 2011. So yes, it's a lot more than that today. Who could forget the groundbreaking iPhone? Groundbreaking smartphone, and it's no longer a device that you simply use to make telephone calls, and that's only 7 years ago. So let's just think about that for a moment. We had mainframe computers, these massive computers that could fill a room in the 60s. Then we got personal computers on a desk. Then we got laptops. 20 years later we're getting an iPhone, and now some of us are starting to wear our technology on our wrists. So where to in the future? The enablement and the accessibility of high-speed broadband will be the single most significant driver of technology moving forward. This is fundamental to the ongoing development of all forms of technology and will change the face of the Australian economy. High-speed broadband is causing a significant decline in traditional retailing. We're all moving online for our purchasing, and only those organisations that can incorporate a mix of both online and bricks and mortar retailing are likely to survive the long term. And beyond retailing, other casualties will include, or may include, newspapers, magazines, books and directory publishing. They're all going to an online version, and the likes of radio, video rentals, free-to-air TV, broadcasting, all absorbed into internet distribution. And on the weekend I read in the paper that all school leavers, who typically would refer to the weekend paper to see the results of their exams, as of this year it's all gone online. Now it's not a major change, I suppose, but it is a break with tradition that has gone for well over 100 years. So it's all online now. So we are very rich in mining and resources, which accounts for the major source of our country's export revenues, but this is changing. Australia's resource focus will shift from natural resources to developed resources, that being an educated labour force, the internet, converged communications, infrastructure, service and utilities. Over time, IT will increasingly become a utility, just like your phone, electricity, gas or water. You simply log in, access the services that you require, and the boundaries will continue to blur though between work and leisure, public and private, technological and human. Now this doesn't mean we should all leave this room with the intent of moving our computing straight off to the cloud. The cloud will play a far more significant role over time, but clearly an important point to remember is that your connection to the cloud can also be a single point of failure. Typically, cloud solutions are still more expensive than on-site infrastructure for small business, and some organisations have proprietary software that simply will not run in a cloud environment. More commonly, we are seeing organisations today with a hybrid model that incorporates both solutions, but over time, you can reasonably expect that to change. Cloud will certainly become a bigger part of what we do with technology in the future. Consumers today, they are far far better informed and better equipped to influence the way we experience everything around them, and businesses get real-time connections to the physical world that allow machines as well as employees to act and react faster and more intelligently. The way people interact with the world around them is changing dramatically. Digital technologies offer new decision-making experiences, from selecting a restaurant in a new neighbourhood through your iPhone to making critical maintenance decisions on a pipeline or whatever that might be. The Internet of Things, the ubiquitous Internet, well, the connection of devices is estimated to reach 212 billion people by the year 2020. That's more than 26 billion devices will be connected to the Internet. I mean, they're figures that you can't get your mind around. Other than that, to know that we are absolutely surrounded by it. Doesn't help with petrol, but it's still good. Heart monitoring implants, biochip transponders in farm animals. Chatting to someone at Plant Health the other day, he said we're monitoring every bee that comes into the hive. They've got sensors in there, so they know what's happening. Your fridge will be connected. Cars are with built-in sensors, GPSs that track your every move. Technology has evolved to enable this for the last decade, and the ubiquity of the network connectivity and the proliferation of smart devices have created platforms upon which every enterprise can innovate in terms of creating new customer experiences. Truly exciting times. A famous quote that I love from Einstein: logic will get you from A to B, but it's imagination that will take you everywhere. Well, you've certainly got the technology to do it now. Now, I have a short video here of a company called Tesco in South Korea. It's actually a year or two old, this video, but it's still a good. They're called Home Plus, and they have grown to be the country's second largest supermarket, and they wanted to become number one. So to expand their sales, rather than expending a lot of money opening up new shops, they decided to take their shop to the consumers.
South Korea is a unique market. Tesco has been evolving itself, adjusting to the local market. It even changed the name itself from Tesco to Home Plus. And at last, it grew to rank number 2 in Korea. But Tesco had to overcome one obstacle: a fewer number of stores compared to the number 1 company, E-Mart. Mission: could we become number 1 without increasing the number of stores? We made an in-depth study into Koreans once more. Koreans are the second most hardworking people in the world. For them, grocery shopping once a week is a dreaded task. So we decided to approach these busy and tired people. Idea: let the store come to the people. We created virtual stores, hoping to blend into people's everyday lives. Our first try was subway stations. Although virtual, the displays were exactly the same as actual stores, from the display to the merchandise. Only one thing was different: you use smartphones to shop. Scan the QR code with your phone and the product automatically lands in your online cart. When the online purchase is done, it will be delivered to your door right after you get home. People can relax more after work and on weekends.
실제로 보면서 사니까 진짜 더 좋은 것 같아요. 편하기도 하고.
Result: people can shop at Tesco Home Plus wherever they go without having to visit the actual store. Moreover, we could change their waiting time to shopping time. After this campaign, online sales increased tremendously. Through this campaign, 10,287 consumers visited the online Home Plus mall using smartphones. The number of new registered members rose by 76%, and online sales increased 130%. Currently, Home Plus has become number 1 in the online market and is a very close second offline.
Philips is piloting the use of Google Glass to allow physicians wearing the display to simultaneously monitor a patient's vital signs. That's the Google Glass, the little connection that goes on the side. Sure, you're aware of that. But yes, manage the patient's vital signs and react to surgical or procedural developments without having to turn away. Cruise liners are now easing the queues on board the ships by using sensors to relay to customers real-time seating availability at restaurants on the boat, so you know when to head down for dinner. And the list goes on. For me, the key trend here, though, is innovation, because we're no longer limited by our technology.
Create a message and send to Amy at Delgado Chang. Amy, do you see what I see? It's me. See if David and Rob can join us. Premier, send it.
Mr. Carson, can you book a room today for me, David, Cara, and Rob?
Amy, your coffee's ready.
Every morning, and this morning it struck me we could build a bridge.
Well, there's something we could do. 120 feet across.
So, bike traffic that we have in this area, and we pull up just a couple of it. Stop this one here.
Good job, guys.
Great. Sounds good.
Cascadia, we're wrapping up.
Show me the files from the previous meeting.
Hey, David.
So,
What you got?
take a look at this. That is an exciting pattern.
The option could work.
Let's get to work. Corbu, I'd like to talk to Cara, Amy, and David. Hi all. Amy, what you finding?
Well, the big news is that there's some loose strife in places about 75 yards.
Okay.
We'll have to mitigate to keep from spreading it.
Charlie wants to play.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You're something out of a dream. Messing
key trend that we will see through the middle of this century will be that 1 in 4 people will be working at least partially from home. And as we continue to move online, one of the big winners will be rural communities, as people and businesses are no longer tied to the big cities and people relocate for better lifestyle choices. Our cities are becoming smarter, with fully digital infrastructure enabling us to improve both lifestyle and economic success. And the focus will be on taking old infrastructure and business practices and applying new business models to fund these investments. Now I have one final short video to show you, and this is more related to the home, and I think you'll find it equally as interesting. So clearly exciting times. I mean, we're immersed in it. We hear and see it all the time, and I still love watching these things. I get very excited by them. Technology can be very complex at times, and fair to say that's what OPC's role is in that we play in many organisations. We take a strategic and proactive approach to businesses' IT. We don't wait for something to break before we get involved. We like to take a holistic view of an organisation's requirements and then break it down into its various components. And then by gathering the collective expertise of our team, and we have about 30 people and they have knowledge in very select areas. So using their collective IT knowledge, we come up with a blueprint for managing your ongoing IT needs. From the web, the hardware, the software, and importantly the support services, that's how we can assist you. So here's to the future, ladies and gents.